That's right. Full Custom Hot Dog back at it again with another Blu-ray review. But first, before we get into the Blu-ray review, the titular Blu-ray review of 976 Evil, I just want to talk a little bit about the upcoming holiday. It's Thanksgiving week. This will probably be my only upload this week. I just kind of want to watch a ton of stuff and prepare a bunch of content for next week and sort of just enjoy some time with the fam and 4-day weekend coming up, yada yada yada. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody watching. But more importantly, Black Friday is upon us. So if you're unfamiliar with collecting during Black Friday, Amazon usually has some pretty solid deals, a lot of mainstream stuff, some cool sets usually. I haven't previewed or taken a look yet. The main thing I would want from there is Annihilation. I'm hoping to get a good deal on because I just really dug Annihilation. You've also got a couple companies doing some limited releases and exclusives. Vinegar Syndrome is releasing Cutting Class, the slasher flick with Brad Pitt from the 80s. Pretty fun, enjoyable. I will be picking it up. Vinegar Syndrome is also doing 50% off, which I will take advantage of and pick up a couple things. You've also got Severin releasing Skinner, which is like I think a late 80s, early 90s slasher with Ted Raimi, and I'll be picking that up too. Love Severin. They've just been crushing it this year, so there's some limited edition stuff happening there. Deals all around. Ronin Flicks has got some deals, so if you want to pick up some of their releases like The Sect or The Church, might be a good time. They also normally do sales that are a little bit better. No offense to Ronin Flicks. I love you guys. You guys do some great stuff, but your other sales have been better in the past, so I'm probably going to hold off there. But if there's stuff that you have to have, maybe a one-off or two-off, it's a pretty solid time to get that fix. I mentioned Vinegar Syndrome. I mentioned Severin. Arrow, I think, is doing something pretty big. Barnes & Noble right now is doing Criterion's 50% off. You know, the standard Criterion discount. And then they're also doing Arrow at 50% off. And I've been posting pictures of what I've been picking up on Twitter. And if you're following me on Instagram, I apologize. I haven't been posting anything, so I don't know what to do there. But yeah, so a lot of good stuff happening. I'm going to be spending a lot of money. And I'm crazy. And I like movies. What are you going to do? You know? Anyway, let's talk about 976 Evil, a surprisingly solid release from Columbia Pictures. The case is sort of a throwback to VHS times. It's obviously VHS inspired. Pretty solid audio and video quality, and a commentary with Robert Englund and Nancy Booth, Englund, his wife, who I believe was a set decorator at the time. It also comes with an alternate home video version. When this dropped on VHS, I think it was like 15-20 minutes longer or something. That's on here as well. And nothing game-changing there, but still cool to have extra footage. All around, I paid like $10-12 for this flick, and it was a blind buy, which you know I do often. And for that price, it was worth it. I would give it a B, but right now on Amazon, it's like $20, so it's like a C. I'm gonna put an affiliate link there if you want to buy this for $20. I'm not gonna stop you, and you support the channel. So yeah, a solid release all around though. If any of you know of any other releases similar from Columbia Pictures with this VHS inspired look, it also has Sony on the back, and I had thought the release was primarily Sony. So if you know of anything else like this, let me know. I had thought this was kicking off a series, but I do not believe it is. Now anyway, let's get into the film, 976 Evil. Back in the day, you could call 976 numbers and get horoscopes and talk to Santa, or talk to Freddy, as Robert Englund talks about. And you would get charged per minute. It was a charge line. So the premise of this film is that you call this 976 Evil, you get your horror scope, and then you're talking to like hell or the devil or something, and then you get crazy powers, I guess, or wacky stuff happens. So I don't think they took the premise far enough. This felt more like a Tales from the Dark Side tale than a movie. I kind of wish they would have pushed it a little bit further. They did do a sequel, so maybe they did it in that. I haven't seen it, but it's directed by Jim Wynorski, which makes me think it's going to be more cheesy than horror, but still pretty fun. So let me know if you've seen that and how it compares to the original. I always love seeing your guys' comments, as always. It's a fun flick. Stephen Jeffries, who you may know from Fright Night as Evil Ed, which is phenomenal performance. It's kind of sad to know he kind of goes from around this point to doing porn of the homosexual kind, and then Yeah, I heard he's making a comeback in acting. I hope so, but because he was so great when he was young, it's just a bummer to see him spiral. But he plays this young kid who, of course, has got this overbearing religious mother who's buck wild crazy, and he's kind of wacky because of it. He just seems like a goofy, nice dude, And then he gets obsessed with this number and gets powers from hell, and then just becomes slowly turns into a monster. It's your standard tale of boy becomes monster. Patrick O'Brien is in this as Spike, who also makes an appearance in the sequel as well as the same character. It's a solid movie all around, though. I'm glad to own this. I've probably watched this 4 or 5 times since I've owned it. And it's just a cool little watch. Nothing crazy, nothing too deep, nothing too heavy. And a solid debut from Robert Englund. You've got some pretty solid special effects. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this is Robert Englund's directorial debut. First of 3 credits. The other being Freddy's Nightmares. And the other being Killer Pad, which I caught the first 15-20 minutes of and enjoyed it more than I expected. There was also a 976 Evil series, which only had 8 episodes and never aired. I believe FearNet aired that recently, within the last 10 years anyway. I haven't seen that. I'd like to check that out, though. That sounds pretty wild. That was made around the time of where you had Freddy's Nightmares. You also had the Friday the 13th TV show, which had nothing to do with it, but I remember being quite enjoyable. I'd like to get that set. That had a DVD set I never picked up. But anyways, this is a solid flick and an easy recommendation to a lot of people. Great cast. Surprising that Robert Englund hadn't directed more movies. Not that this is great. And this is actually kind of not very well received. I think it had I think right now it even stands at like a 9% on Metacritic or Rotten Tomatoes. Not a lot of depth in this one, but I think that's okay. It's just a fun little horror flick. And having Robert Englund sort of gush and embellish on the commentary sort of makes it worth it. Especially, anyway. So definitely check that out. If you're not one that normally watches commentaries, watch the one for this one, because I think you'll enjoy it. But anyway, 976 Evil, 1988. Pretty solid flick all around. If you're not I could give this a recommend to pretty much most audiences. Just a fun little horror flick. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It knows exactly what it is and knows what it's doing, which is great. So yeah, definitely check it out. And as always, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. I brought up a lot of stuff. Let me know what you think about the sequels. You can follow me on Twitter, Full Custom Hot Dog without the last O, because it's just too long for Twitter. And happy Thanksgiving. And next week I shall have some cool stuff for you. And until next time.